From having digital knives to drinking real liquor, here are some of the small details you might have missed in the John Wick movies, starting with how digital knives are used in the world of the movies. At the start of Chapter 3, John fights off a group of would-be killers in a hallway full of glass cases with knives. Even though the fighting's real, every knife and piece of broken glass is made digitally. Every knife in the eye, axe to the head, and reflection in the glass is made to look real by a magical, carefully planned combination of excellent practical performance and visual effects artistry after filming.
My students, if I didn't have to kill you, we'd be pals.
Let's do this.
But you probably didn't notice the way that the currency works in the world. Things like the coin-operated buoy have everything to do with the importance of gold payments. Understanding the John Wick economy might mess with your head, but these coins are a standard gold payment in honor, secrecy, and respect. The exchange rate for these coins is very volatile, but they're also like a social contract. I noticed that they're full of symbols and Latin phrases. On one side is a picture of a robed person with a shield in front of them and the words ex unite veris, which means strength from unity. On the other side, there's a lion in front of a shield and the words aeons causa sui, which means that which the self causes, are written. They're like a flashy way to remind the assassins who spend them that honor among thieves is what sets those who serve the high table apart from the animals, and that snitches get stitches. Not all places in the movie are fictional though. The Continental is very much real and you can visit it yourself.
To pay for what I've done, I seek a meeting with the one who sits above the table.
Listo.
Ian McShane doesn't really run a Four Seasons for Assassins, but you can still visit some of the Continental's beautiful grounds in real life. The grand, nautically themed lobby of the Kennard Building at 25th Broadway stands in for the grand entrance hall of the Continental. The official New York City landmark used to be where you could buy tickets for the Kennard steamship line. The rooftop of the Continental's also a real place, but you might need help to get there. In real life, the Rockefeller Center roof gardens at 610 Fifth Avenue are closed to the public, but they were used as a set for John Wick Chapter 3, where John meets Winston after he refuses to honor Santino's blood oath marker.
Maybe I should have.
Rules and consequences.
Seems like everyone is suffering from the consequences of their actions.
And you're not stepping down.
It might seem like the movies might cross over with other fictional worlds, but that just won't happen. But did you notice that there's a popular link between Bob Odenkirk and Atomic Blonde? Sure, Bob Odenkirk plays a quiet man forced out of his quiet life and into a relentless quest for revenge in Nobody. But the two movies don't take place in the same universe, or even in the same studio. It's easy to think they're similar, because Nobody's full of as much violence and secrecy as the John Wick movies. Plus, Odenkirk was trained by the same stunt actor. But they're obviously very different. Some people are also convinced that Atomic Blonde's in the same world as Nobody. That's because the same director worked on both movies and was co-director for John Wick Chapter 1. Even though John Wick director Chad Stahelski can't see into the future, a mega crossover between Nobody, Atomic Blonde, and John Wick isn't going to happen.
And see some of the best characters. I mean, it did 7 seasons of TV. And even though the TV show may not hold up today, the idea of it or the characters they brought in were super cool. So we're trying to come up with a methodology.
As strong as John is, I don't think he's invincible either. Zero's a good opponent for John Wick. Zero may make his living by cutting up people who have challenged the high table, but he also works as a sushi chef on the side, which is probably a nod to DeCasco's culinary campaigns.
It involves someone who broke the rules and stood against the table.
John Wick, you mean? My students have not been idle.
John Wick and all who helped him.
Mark Dacascos is a great choice for John's most worthy opponent so far, but he was added to the franchise at the last minute. Before filming began,
See, that's why you're special, John Wick. I wouldn't have stopped. It's good to have you back.
Hiroyuki Sanada tore his Achilles tendon, so Dacascos stepped in quickly. It's easy to see why the adjudicator and Chad Stahelski like this guy. When it comes to John Wick Chapter 3, it's clear that the chairman's the key to its success. It's easy to miss everything John's hiding, but here's a good clue. Pay attention to his suit. It hides a lot of things. The script for John Wick mentioned that the main character looked like a Glock, which led Italian costume designer Luca Mosca to make Keanu Reeves' suits as sleek and powerful as possible. Even though John's suits look black to the naked eye, they're almost all shades of gray. This is partly why the lighting in the movie looks like a painting, and partly because Mosca wanted to give John a look of perpetual grief. He shared that the only time John wears a black suit is in Chapter 2, during the scene in Rome. Mosca also gave John sleek suits, hidden places for safety pads, and small, flexible pieces of fabric called gussets. This made the suits perfect for everything from bar fights to sword fights on motorcycles. As if making hundreds of copies of the same suit in different stages of destruction wasn't enough work for Mosca, the designer also made a cameo in Chapter 2 as John Wick's tailor. If there's one thing I'd love to try from the John Wick world though, it'd be the drinks. The characters drink real and sometimes very rare liquor. It looks like bourbon is John Wick's poison. John drinks Blanton's single-barrel bourbon to help his wounds heal, and in Chapter 2 he drinks their special reserve green label. Blanton's can be hard to find sometimes because of how it gets to stores and how many people want to drink it. However, there is bourbon that is even harder to find. I also heard that Continental Bourbon was released in 2019 as a tie-in to Chapter 3, but that the product was cancelled because of problems with quality control. Don't worry, there's plenty more to drink in the real world and the world of John Wick, like Peligroso Tequila and Orange Fanta. After killing Viggo Tarasov, John gives Abram Tarasov a shot of Jewel of Russia Ultra Vodka. Abram takes this peace offering, which shows that even though he has his own mob chop shop, he also has a good head on his shoulders. I was surprised to hear about this next detail that anyone could have easily missed, but if you pay attention, you can see where the inspiration for the franchise comes from. John Wick was inspired by The Matrix. It's fitting that the most influential action franchise of the 1990s and 2000s gave birth to the most influential action franchise of the 2010s. The Matrix was the first time Keanu Reeves worked with Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, who'd later direct John Wick. Both worked as stuntmen on the groundbreaking sci-fi epics made by the Wachowski sisters. According to Vulture, Stahelski was Neo's stunt double and the film's stunt coordinator.
And see some of the best I mean, it did 7 seasons of TV. And even though the TV show may not hold up today, the idea of it or the characters they brought in were super cool. So we're trying to come up with a methodology.
The friendships made while making the Matrix trilogy led to the making of John Wick. Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne, was a mentor to Keanu Reeves' naive but quick Neo in The Matrix. This relationship is echoed in the John Wick movies, where Reeves and Fishburne are again unlikely allies 18 years later. Fishburne plays the Bowery King, the leader of the underworld's underworld intelligence group that goes by the name The Soup Kitchen. There are even Easter eggs and quotes in the John Wick movies that refer to The Matrix, but more than that, the two action franchises have a similar style.
Avert your eyes, my sweet. The king is dead. Long live the king.
With his meta cameo in The Matrix Resurrections, Stahelski got to do something creatively nice for the Wachowskis. That's all the details you might have missed in the John Wick films. See you in the next one.